All right, welcome. Do you know what an ATS is? Well, if you clicked on the title, you might know that the ATS stands for the Applicant Tracking System. Here are some examples. Many different companies make it. And according to JOBSCAN, it's a website that talks about jobs and career, many different companies use ATS, especially the Fortune 500 companies. You know, they use Workday, Taleo, SuccessFactors, the ones I showed you in the previous slide. And they found that 99% of Fortune 500 companies actually use an ATS. And even outside of Fortune 500 companies, many large and small, medium-sized companies use an ATS to assist with their recruiting and hiring. So you might be wondering, why does this matter, right? Well, it's because it's one of the critical tools many companies use. So if you understand the ATS and use it well, you'll get an interview like this. These are some of my students, clients, and over the years, I've helped over 300 people get interviews at these companies globally. So the question here now is, what is the ATS? Okay, and how do we beat the ATS so you can get an interview? I'm Professor Job Offer, and I've spent the last 10 years with the number of Forbes Global 2000 companies, and I want to share with you my tips and tricks on how to land your next job offer. So in this video, I want to tell you about what an ATS is, how an ATS works, and also tell you the secrets the HR and the recruiters don't tell you about the ATS. So knowing that, hopefully it'll boost your chances on landing the interview. So let's start. What is an ATS? Yeah, it stands for the Applicant Tracking System. So it helps companies track different applicants. There's many different systems out there. Some of them have been around for a while. Greenhouse, for example, is relatively new, but they're gaining a lot of market share these days. It is an HR software, and it's used for recruiting and hiring. And there's a little asterisk there, but it was used for recruiting and hiring, but now it actually keeps track. It helps. An ATS now has expanded the scope, and it now keeps track of the entire life cycle of the employee from when they join the company until they leave, whether they retire or they leave the company. So yeah, that's what an ATS is. And lastly, it is the first hurdle of your job hunting. Yeah. And if you don't get over that first hurdle, you're not going to make it to the HR screening and to the interview and so on. So that's why this step is very critical. And it looks like this. It's different dashboards. And this is what the HR sees when you apply and when they're using the ATS. But the thing is, you don't really need to know how the ATS looks like. What you do need to know is how it works. Actually, you don't even need to know this. You want to know how to beat it, right? So let's take a look at how it works. Just briefly, just imagine if a job posting opens at a company you're interested in. How many people do you think apply? Maybe it's for an entry-level position. I know it may differ for an experienced position, but for many entry-level positions, you can expect at least 200 different applicants. Usually, actually, it's a lot higher. So let's say, I think 200 is a pretty fair estimate. And do you think somebody sits there and reads all 200 different resumes and CVs that each candidate spent hours working on? Yeah, if each person spends an hour, not an hour, a minute reading it, that's almost 3.5 hours of reading resumes. The truth is that they don't do that. It's because they have an ATS and they use the ATS. And they use an ATS because it makes their job easier, and we're always trying to make our job easier, right? So an ATS acts as a filter. That's how it works. Not one of these camera filters that make it look pretty, but one of these filters. So what does a filter mean? Or what does filtering mean? It means to pass through a device to remove unwanted material. So yeah, at this point, we might as well call this the applicant filter system. So the truth here is that the resumes and the CVs they receive, they pass through a device called an ATS to remove unwanted material, which would be unwanted candidates, the people they don't think would be a good fit for the job. And the scary truth is that only about 5 to 20% of the resumes actually make it. Yeah, everybody spends so many hours and lots of effort and time working on this, but only about 5 to 20% of the resumes make it. And what do they make it to? They make it to the real person screening, the HR screening. Yeah. And from the real HR screening, only about 5 candidates get job interviews, maybe 5 to 10, depending on the position and how many people they're hiring. So let's take a look at that. 200 people, about 15% of those move on to HR screening. That makes it 30 people that get a chance to show their resume to an actual person and not a robot. And from there, only about 5 candidates make it. So from 200 to 5, that's about 2.5% chance. That's pretty slim. That's 1 in every 40 person. Yeah, 1 in every 40 people. So how do you become one of 5 interviewees, right? That's what we're always wondering, because you need to have an interview before you can get a job offer. And I'll have a video coming soon about conquering the ATS to land an interview. There's a couple different steps I recommend and something I've been using, and I've been able to help actually well over 98% of people make it to an interview. So I'll share my tips and tricks on how to do that. So let's talk about the secrets the HR and the recruiters don't tell you about the ATS. Secret number 1, there's these things called knockout questions. Yeah, the KO questions. What do they mean? These actually make your resume and CV not even matter, because you don't even get a chance. You get knocked out before an ATS even takes a look at it scans through your resume or CV, no matter how well you wrote it. So these are the requirements, the job requirement questions, and you'll find these on the job description. These are requirements. It means it's the minimum qualifications. It's the things you need to have. For example, valid driver's license. If you don't have a valid driver's license, or you lie about it, then you get knocked out. And some of the things they ask you, are you willing to work on weekends? Of course, they phrase it nicely. I'll show you what I mean. If you say no to that, you get knocked out. Yeah. Are you returning to school after the work term if it's for like an internship? You say no to that, you get knocked out. Ooh, so let's take a look at some questions. Number 1, are you willing to work flexible hours to accommodate work coordination with colleagues in a globally diverse time zones? It's just a nice way of saying, are you willing to work early or late or on weekends as we need you to? If you say no to that, then you get knocked out. Number 2, are you willing to work out of town assignments? Oh, that sounds really fancy, like you're going on business trips. Yes, you may, but if you say, oh no, I just want to stay in town, I don't want to go anywhere, you say no to that, you get knocked out. Miss your chance. Let's take a look at this one. This is what they see from the ATS's perspective, from the HR perspective. So question number 1, it actually says, to be eligible for the student employment program, you must meet the 2 criteria. You must meet both of them. So first, you must be currently attending school on a full-time basis. Okay. Second one is you must be returning to school on a full-time basis after your work term is done. Okay, sounds like an internship or a co-op position. And if you say yes to that, yeah, it's a requirement, as you can see. But if you say no to that, no, I do not meet both of these criteria. I'm not currently a full-time student, and or I will not be returning to school on a full-time basis. You say no to this, yeah, you don't meet the requirement. You get knocked out. Yeah, another one, the second question is, even if you answer yes to the first one, you meet that requirement. The second question says, after the summer employment period, what year of study will you be in? And if you happen to be in a first year post-secondary after your employment is over, you get knocked out. Yeah. So you have to be really careful in answering these questions. Of course, don't lie about them, but this is something that the HR doesn't tell you. And depending on how you answer, some of these questions or even one of them, you get knocked out. And secret number 2, more experience does not always mean it's better. Yeah, you would think, more experience probably means more brownie points, but it doesn't necessarily work that way. The question's a little blurry, so I rewrote that. So the question is, how many years of research and management experience do you possess? Okay, and it's like a multiple choice. You choose one. Do you have 0 to 1 year experience, maybe 1 to 3 year experience, 36 year experience, or more than 6 years of experience in research and management? And depending on what you answer, of course, they don't show you what score you get, but depending on how you answer, you might get 1 point. For example, if you have 0 to 1 year experience. But if you have 1 to 3 year experience, you get 6 points. If you have 3 to 6 year experience, you get 15 points. If you have more than 6 year experience, which means you have the most experience in research and management, you only get 10 points. Why is this? Because they're looking for an entry-level manager. They're not looking for a mid-level manager or an executive with like 10 plus years of experience. They want somebody who has just about the right experience, 3 to 6 years of experience. And depending on what you answer and how you answer, you get 15 points instead of a 10. So more experience does not always mean it's better. And secret number 3, there's grades. Yeah, you thought you wouldn't need to care about grades anymore once you graduate at university or once you're out of college, right? Not necessarily true. Let's take a look at this. It's a snapshot of an ATS. Last names haven't blurred out, but yeah, Jason has 92%, Shannon's got 85%, Manju has 83%. Ooh, and where do these grades come from? It comes from those questions you answer and from the resume screening. And depending on how you formatted your resume and how you have customized it well to the job and how your experience and skills match, you get a score based on that. You get the grades. And Here's another snapshot. It shows in a circle instead of an actual score. So the top group, the top 15% of applicants, Brian, Alyssa, Amelia, Lemmy, and Gregory, have majority of their circle filled, which means they are a good fit for the job they're applying for. Right? Each of the circle could mean different things. It could be like a personality trait, or could be based on skills and experience. And you have the second group of 20% of people, like Krishna and Franklin. You can see that these people don't have as much of the circle filled in. And you know why they do this? Because only the top grades move on to the HR screening. Yeah, because that's what an ATS is supposed to do. And I'll have a video coming soon about conquering the ATS, so you can make it to an interview. And in that video, I'll tell you how you can get a high score, yeah, without lying and cheating and all that stuff. So yeah, stay tuned for that. Let's quickly review. I told you what an ATS was. This is what an ATS is. It's an HR software. It helps the HR with recruiting and hiring. It's the very first hurdle you have to get over before you even get anywhere. And how an ATS works. Remember, it's a filter. It's like an applicant filtering system. So your resume is passed through an ATS to filter unwanted candidates. Yeah, it's a scary thing. And I also told you 3 different secrets the HR and the recruiters don't tell you about the ATS. One more thing, there's a lot of additional resources available for you for free on YouTube. Yeah, I just want to share, to be honest. It's not my full-time job. I just do this on the side. I find it very enjoyable. And so I have a video on how to write a resume from scratch. I show you literally in that single video how to make it from blank page to this in 20 minutes. So be sure to check that out if you don't have a resume yet. And also, if you're looking to vamp up your education section to look like this, very detailed, full of experiences and diversity, then I have a video where I show you how to write the education section on your resume, literally line by line. When I say line by line, I literally mean line by line, starting from the title to your major, your degree, your school, to the dates and your GPA, and how you should be arranging your awards and scholarships and the dates, to all the courses that you took, to all the activities, literally line by line. So yeah, take a look at that. I'm Professor Job Offer, and I'm here to help you land your next job offer. Thanks for watching.